Wow. Hey, everyone. Today is day 6 of 21 days to facing fear of the future. My cat Grace is on my lap. She always likes to come here. And I wanted to do this from my desk so I can read this. So it's fear of the future for me is fear of not being able to go outside of my country, but also fear of traveling alone to that place. And not sure what that place is, but fear of just traveling alone. Let's go with that. Fear of going out and living independently without family. So before I tap on this, I want to say what I notice in this is the conflict, the inner conflict. So fear of not being able to go outside my country. But then if I can go outside my country, I have fear of traveling alone. So when we have two sort of opposing views, beliefs, what happens is then the status quo stays the same. We typically stay frozen. We don't move beyond that because the two thoughts are competing with each other and they're not allowing any sort of movement to move forward. So this would be a great one to just on that alone to argue tap. Fear, I have this fear I can't go outside my country, but then if I can, I'm afraid of traveling alone. I have this fear, and you want to go back and forth with the argue tapping really rapidly, just after a while, like I'm afraid to go outside my country. Yeah, but if I can, then I'm afraid to travel alone. And then fear of going out and living independently without family. So I'm going to try and encompass all of these. But let's just start. I got my cat Grace, and we're just going to go right when we're going to argue tap this. And see my little girl, she's just warmed up to my chest. She likes to hang out during these things. Yep, that's little Grace. Yep. I always joke I have to get a restraining order about her sometimes because she's so, right, baby? Yeah, hi. Yes, she's very attached, but I really like it. Okay, so we have a conflict here of I'm afraid I can't go outside of my country, but then if I can, oh my God, I'm afraid of traveling alone. So what I would tell you without knowing more is the additional thing you want to tap on is what are your fears of traveling alone? Like what's in EFT, the way I was trained, you want to go to worst case scenario. Like, what's worst case scenario for me? What's the worst thing that could happen to me if I traveled alone? Is it I'm afraid of being harmed? So what is that? And if you go to worst case scenario, then you're very likely going to uncover something earlier on in life that's creating the fear. So just getting back on my lap. So let's just start tapping. Even though I have this fear of not being able to go outside my country. And yet this fear is in direct conflict. If I can travel, I'm afraid of what could happen to me. I choose to acknowledge I have this conflict. Even though I have this conflict, and this fear, I'm afraid I'll never travel again. But if I do travel, what could happen to me? I choose to honor my feelings now. Even though I have a conflict that's keeping the status quo in place, I'm afraid I'll never be able to travel again. But then if I can, what could happen to me? I choose to acknowledge these feelings now and go to the eyebrow. I have this conflict. I want to travel again, but then I don't. I want to travel again. At least I want to be able to. I want to have the choice. But then when the choice is available, fear of traveling kicks in. Traveling alone. What could happen to me if I travel alone? What is this fear? And what if, by tuning into this fear of what could possibly happen to me, traveling alone, and the fear of what it means to me to never be able to travel again. And if I can get in touch with what's below the surface for me here, around traveling alone or being stuck in my country, what if I find relief? And then I notice confidence comes back to me. I could travel alone. Or maybe I realize I don't want to travel alone. And can that be okay too? But if I stay in the conflict, I don't have answers for what my truth for me is. Independent of whatever anyone else thinks or says. I want to find my authentic truth. What's true for me? And just soothing this conflict can create the space for my authentic answer to come. And the same for my fear of living independently without my family. As I tune in to what this would mean to me to live independently without them, what if I can quell that fear too? Soothe myself and find relief. And also have access to what's best and truest for me, no matter what anyone else thinks. And what if it's possible? This is a great opportunity to get in touch with my authentic self. And via that, I can learn what's right and true for me. as I release the conflict, soothe my inner conflict, I create the space for the answers I need, those intuitive impulses, the guidance and direction that's unique for me. And I get the answers I need that are best for me. And take a breath. Oh, thanks, Marcia. Hey, I wore the red lipstick again today. Always happy to have you here. And Mona, happy to see you too. So this is what I see in this, is I would argue tap on the fear of, oh, I'm afraid I can never leave my country. But then if I can, oh my God, what could happen to me? Because that's a conflict. And if the conflict stays in place, the status quo stays in place. We stay frozen. We can't move forward. But when we remind ourselves, all I got to do right now is attend to this fear, attend to this conflict. And by attending to that, to me, that's why tapping is so wonderful, because it attends to the very human part of us. We don't have to deny or reject or do spiritual bypass and say, oh, I shouldn't be afraid of this. I should just think happy thoughts and everything's going to be okay. We're in a body having a human experience, and we need to attend to our humanity and honor that. And by doing that with tapping, then we start to integrate the human part of us with the spiritual part. Because if we just go too far to the which we call spiritual bypass, like just everything's going to be okay, just visualize it the way you want, put your vision board, or make sure that you hold the highest. Good luck holding the highest when you're in fear. And to me, it's like to tap on that and go, I'm in fear about this. And what if that's okay? And what if I can make myself not wrong for that? I'm in a body having a human experience. I want to attend to that part of me. I tell you, I find it's magical when we allow ourselves our humanity. And to me, tapping's the thing that I love. It's my go-to to do that and go, okay, I've got this human part that's activated right now. And as I attend to it, that starts to soothe. And then I have access to those intuitive impulses, the guidance and direction that can come to each of us uniquely, independent of whatever anybody else says, does, or thinks that you should do for you and your life. And you get to find your truth authentically for you. So thank you so much for the topic. And let's see, Marcia, I can see the lipstick is turning into a habit. Yeah, well, till it runs out. Yeah, it's pretty fun. So anyway, thanks, Marcia. Always happy. You always make me laugh. Mona, happy to have you here. And I think it's Shreya. Thank you for you can spell it phonetically if I did not say your name right. Thank you for the topic. And to me, it's always coming back to, all I got to do right now is attend to this fear. Because if we try to figure things out or make decisions in the midst of fear, we can't. Not effectively. We tend to make bad choices for ourselves, or choices that don't really serve us. But when you're like, all I got to do is soothe myself right now and find some relief, and then I have access to the prefrontal cortex, that the slower thinking, creative part of the brain, and solutions have a space to come to me. That's the way I always find relief with all of this. So again, thank you so much for the topic, and then we'll see you back here tomorrow, day 7. So it'll be the end of week 1, and we'll keep moving forward. Oh, let's see. Sorry, RS in Brazil means laughing. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Thanks, Marcia. That's cool. All right, you guys, everyone take good care and have a great rest of your day. And thanks, Marcia, for the beautiful tapping compliment. Take care. Bye-bye.